And as I've researched this program more, it's really great, but I do have one question. Target population, 100% Clay Township. With the libraries now being countywide, do you include?
Right. No, we really don't. I mean, we do get others that come in, but unless they're taking out books, it's hard to tell who's who. So we
Sure.
really have so many children coming in that I would say probably 95% are probably Carmel
Great.
students.
I was there today, and I noticed the last several times I've been in that even just entering the library, it's all changed with the tables and the chairs and people sitting there doing their computer work, sitting right out in the lobby. I think that's really pretty terrific.
Yeah, it's very, very engaging, and the whole purpose is to be home away from home, so.
Thank you, Ruth.
Okay, thank you.
Chausey's Place.
Toby got a hold of me today that she was unable to make it tonight, so she brought in the paperwork. And I left it in the office there. I don't remember what they were asking. But I'll let you know before you leave today.
Okay, all right. That's the end of my list, but who might be here that's, well, I was getting to that, Jim, thanks. Who have we missed? And please, one at a time, come up to the microphone and identify yourself and, good.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Christine Asaturo, and I'm representing Carmel Community Players. I have several of our directors, actors, and technicians with us tonight. Those four people beside me we wear lots of hats. Carmel Community Players has been providing live entertainment, dramatic and musical, to develop creative, cultural, and educational opportunities for the entire community since 1993, right here in Carmel. So we're almost 20 years old, and we've had no government funding since 2007. What we've done is work hard with our ticket revenues and our sponsorship opportunities, and we've worked diligently to become relatively self-sufficient at our Clay Terrace Playhouse, which is easily accessible for great entertainment at a great price. What we're asking now is for the Clay Township Board to give us a $5,000 grant to extend our exceptional entertainment up close by providing opportunities for even more people to enjoy what we have to offer. Funding from Clay Township will enable CCP to extend our audience and potential performance and technicians. Community theater is a great hobby as well as a great entertainment opportunity. We'll use the funding for ticket vouchers that will be given to seniors, young people, and adults, and many of the groups that are here tonight would be target populations to make contacts to offer our up-close entertainment to people who haven't necessarily thought of themselves as theater goers and people who can partake in musical theater. The income from the ticket money will then be used to upgrade our sound or light systems depending on which one breaks first. We're really careful with our planning, and we'll be responsible with whatever funds Clay Township may be able to grant us. So we want to thank you for your consideration this evening, and we truly appreciate this opportunity to hopefully join this great cadre of worthy recipients that you have. Our ticket revenue, we've recently done a survey to show that word of mouth has been our best advertising. So we think that by offering ticket vouchers and offering people a first-hand experience at our theater, it'll be the greatest way to build our audience base and also expand the audience to people who haven't thought of themselves as being able to partake of the great theatrical environments we have in Carmel. And that's what we'd like to do with your funding, and we'd appreciate your help.
Any questions, Matt?
No, you guys have done great sustaining yourselves.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Because I'm not sure if you realize how we've been organized and reorganized several times with the city and with us. Originally, we were offering all the grants to everybody in the community. And then when the city decided to give 1% of their budget to the arts, they took over the arts grants, and we handled groups like Prevail and the groups you've heard today. And now we notice that the arts groups are coming back to us. And I guess, and that is not a criticism, but I'm wondering what the city is doing in support of you and what the needs are that bring you back to us.
Well, Carmel Community Players was the original, first set up in around 1993, volunteer community theater group. And in 2007, when there were theatrical or philosophical disagreements, a new group split off. The new group has gotten all of the funding from the city, and Carmel Community Players has been told in the past, there's no money. So, and we're looking at potentially putting in for asking that through their regular procedure, but it's that's why we set up in Clay Terrace and work to produce, to be as self-sufficient as we could, and we're looking for other opportunities, and you're just one of them. But yeah, we were kind of told that arts are okay in Carmel, but not CCP.
Okay, all right, thank you for answering that question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Who's next? Please come to the microphone.
I know you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Catherine Dill, and I am the director of the Carmel Clay Historical Society. I apologize for my tardiness. I am the one and only part-time staff member of the Historical Society, and we appreciate your support in the past. Last year, you gave us a grant of $12,500, and in the past year, we have really worked hard at becoming more financially self-sufficient. We've received grants from national and local organizations. We've increased our membership by 20%. We've reached more than 500 students in the last year's school year alone. And this year, we're requesting a grant of $20,455 that will be used to hire an intern from IUPUI, which would help us increase program offerings for schools and the public, as well as maintain our collections. As well, the funding would also support some signage for the outside of the Historical Society to educate people about the history of the community and the township when we're not there, as well as kind of sustain the building. We are in an older structure and it needs constant maintenance, and we have received some grants for that in the past. I'll let you read the rest of it. Do you have any questions?
Who else do you receive funding from?
It varies. The Clay Township has been the only consistent source of funding for the Historical Society. Last year, we received a grant from the 4CDC, and they're not offering a grant this year. We did apply to the city for an arts grant. We've received money from the Hamilton County Convention and Visitors Bureau. We've had members donate $1,000 grants for specific projects. So they're varied sources. We've applied to the National Endowment of the Humanities. We did not receive that grant, but we're looking for any and all sources. And we are, again, I mean, with a group like this, your funding comes from programs, it comes from membership, it comes from grants, and we have an annual campaign. This is the third year we've had the annual campaign and have really increased the donations from that as well. So our efforts are proving fruitful.
Matt?
Nothing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jessica White with the Actors Theatre of Indiana, and this is our first time to apply. The Actors Theatre of Indiana was formed in 2005 when its principals, Cindy Collins, Don Farrell, and Judy Fitzgerald, moved here from New York City, where they had been performing on Broadway, and decided to start a professional theater in Hamilton County. Judy is originally from Hamilton County. When they started, shortly after they started planning for the theater, they were approached by Mayor Brainerd of Carmel, asking them to consider being the resident professional theater at the Center for the Performing Arts when it was built. So from 2005 until 2011, they worked to build a very strong base of patrons who followed them from site to site and county to county as they began to build the theater. In 2011, they opened their first season at the Center for the Performing Arts, and we're pleased to say that all of those patrons have followed them, and they continue to grow the base. We now have over 4,200 patrons who attend. 40% of those in this past season came from Clay Township. But another exciting part is that the other 60% came from over 37 counties in the state of Indiana, and 3% of our patrons come from out of state. We have one subscriber that comes from St. Louis for all of the plays. The nice thing about the fact that that 60% comes from outside of this area is that a national study shows that people who come to arts organizations from outside the area spend at least $24.73 on average while they're there. So in addition to providing great professional theater, we're also bringing new economy into this area. The difference between a professional theater and a community theater, both of which are marvelous to have in your community, is that professional theater pays everyone, the actors, the stage crew, the directors, everyone. And they're required to do that under an equity contract where community players do not have to pay. What has happened with the Actors Theater is that since their founding, the three principals have made sure that everyone was paid except themselves. They've been paid for the acting they've done, but they've received no money for the directing, producing, or any of the administration or building of the theater. So we're asking you this year for $30,000, which would provide $10,000 apiece to each of the three principals for their work in doing all the administration and directing and producing. We wouldn't be here without those three people, and we want to ensure that the theater continues. It's grown substantially. Last year we had 248 season ticket holders, which was our first season ticket. This year we have 268 already, and we're only halfway through the year. So we think that your $30,000 will encourage these three to keep providing the high quality of professional theater that they're providing and continuing to bring greater economic impact to not only Clay Township, but the whole central Indiana area.
Matt? Anything? I do have a question because, you know, I met with James Riley, and we talked about the needs, and he was talking, I explained to him at the time, we are not in the business of providing salaries, that we're in the business of providing grants to people for services in the community. And he went on to explain some of the ideas, but that isn't what I heard you talking about tonight. You need the money actually for salaries, is that correct?
Well, obviously, 40% of ticket sales only account for 40%
Right.
of our expenses. And one thing I forgot to mention is that prior to coming to the Center for the Performing Arts, our rent was $28,000 a year. Now that we're at the center, our rent last year was $120,000 a year. So that's a big difference. We do receive $35,000 last year from the city of Carmel, but that barely made a dent in the rent. So we have a lot of increased expenses. We have applied to a number of other foundations to cover some of the other expenses and in order to keep the programming going. But we would like to make sure that the three principals are at least compensated in some way, because they do still do the producing, the directing, the choreography, and all of those aspects of the work.
I mean, I can't help but, in my mind, this sounds like a business plan that's not doing well. I mean, Beef and Boards is an equity theater, and the principals aren't coming asking for money.
Right, Beef and Boards has been around a long time, and they don't have the substantial rent that we have to pay, but it's, you know, it's a long time to start a theater. It's a lot of work and expense.
I understand. $128,000 a year, though, sounds like a lot to jump into.
Well, it is, and I guess I would say that the theater was not aware, thought that there would be more support from the city when they came there, and we would love to stay there because it is a great place not only to perform, but it's also an asset to the community. But we do need support from the community to do that.
I do have another question. I know we're really putting you on the spot here.
That's okay.
But you perform in the black box, is that correct?
Correct.
And so the money goes to put the productions on? Because I know you were just given an office at PEDCOR, and I think you're paying $1 a year for that.
Yes, we're in the studio theater, but we only get that theater when we're performing. We don't have any, we cannot rehearse there. We don't get any other space for offices or whatever. So PEDCOR did provide an office space, which we did not have. But in the studio theater, it's a small theater. That was one of the differences, that when they went there, they were under the understanding that they were going to have a larger theater. It turned out to be only 206 seats, and so you can only, there's a limited amount of income that can come from 206 seats.
Help me, if you would, for just 1 minute. So the rent you're paying is for exactly what? If you're getting the office, that office?
The rent's paying for the studio theater.
For the studio
to
theater.
perform, right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions? No more questions. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Mhm.
Are there any other groups that would like to present? There we are. Thank you.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having us. My name is Megan McKinney, and I'm the Development Director at the Booth Tarkington Civic Theatre. Many of you know the Civic Theatre. We're the primary resident theater company at the Center for the Performing Arts here. We've just finished 11 months in our new home. We are respectfully asking for $10,000 to help fund our outreach. Our outreach program involves primarily 3 different programs. Actually, the first is Sneak View. The programs together have the potential to serve 1,554 Clay Township residents during the upcoming season with the board's support. For approximately 20 years, Civic Theater Sneak View program has provided the underserved community the opportunity to enjoy live theater free of charge. Sneak View is held on the final dress rehearsal of each of Civic's 5 main stage productions and our junior Civic musical. It's like a preview performance. We open up our doors to specific groups that we've invited, specifically the physically, mentally, socially, economically, and transportationally challenged community members of all ages. Although most of Civic Sneak View patrons, over 80%, are senior citizens living in retirement homes on fixed incomes. Each summer prior to the opening of our season, we send a mailing to dozens of prospective groups, including 10 we're specifically targeting this year in Clay Township, informing them of the opportunities. We want to maximize Civic's impact through our full houses. Sneak View performances sell out 100% every time. I want to go into this, but it's more in our application and you can read about it. The second program is the Backstage Pass, which impacts children ages 3 to 9. It's an introduction to theater that we bring in these kids, about 20 at a time, and teach them all different aspects of theater, from costumes to sets to lighting to sound. They get to take a bow on our stage, and they get to do it for the minimal fee of $3 a child. Finally, Act 1, which is our primary junior civic group, has been starting to tour to nursing homes in Clay Township. We want to expand that this year, and we have plans to do 6 visits, 3 at the holidays and 3 in the spring, where students perform both in common areas at the nursing homes and also walk down the hallways to be able to reach all of the people who can't get up and make their way down to the common area. All told, when I submit the budget breakdown on all of the numbers, you'll see the potential that we're planning on serving in Clay Township this year is 1,554 people. And I think I made a mistake because I don't have my completed application tonight. Can I turn it in tomorrow?
Sure.
Thank you. Last time we did this, we did the presentation first and then followed up with the application in case there were any questions or adjustments we had to make. So that's what I plan on doing again today. But I can submit it tomorrow morning. Do you have
Megan,
any
this is
questions?
your first time here.
Second time,
You were here last year.
yes.
Did we grant you any money last year?
No, we hadn't moved to Clay Township yet.
Okay.
We were in the process of moving, and we hadn't fully established our outreach programs like we have this year.
And you are, as I understand, after talking with Sherry Dick, your expenses have increased, have they not?
They have increased quite a bit, yes.
And you lost your support in Indianapolis.
We lost our support in Indianapolis, we lost a great deal of our support in Indianapolis, that's correct, when we moved up here.
Right.
Yeah. But the money that we are asking for is specifically to outreach for Clay Township residents. Yeah.
Any questions, Megan?
Megan, that, I guess, there's no question that the arts have benefits for people.
Yes.
But you're the first person to get up there and actually get out and ask for money to get out and actually touch people. So none of this would be going to, there's no salary involved here. This is all going towards supplies, getting your staff, getting your people to these less people that couldn't otherwise come, and then the flip side is getting these people from areas where they otherwise can't travel to the theater, or who couldn't afford to get to the theater, or would have difficulty going with a normal crowd to see live theater.
That's exactly right. We do a lot of research and try to collect as much data as we can on the benefits of live theater performance and entertainment in general for the health of people. There are countless documented studies about, these groups that come are primarily senior citizens groups, and we get letters from them after the fact about their quality of life has improved, and of course we have studies to back up things like they fall less. I mean, there are several steps of good health that come from experiencing cultural activities, theater included, and things that you wouldn't even think of can be, can really turn people around. And we have these preview performances that we're so proud of because there are no steps that people have to walk up to get into the theater. We have ample wheelchair seating. We have a special area that's for walkers. We have one dedicated staff person who deals with these groups so they can develop a relationship with him. We set up a table in the middle of the lobby so people don't have to hunt for the box office or look for the will call window. We really try to make it as accessible as possible for people. One of the things we also provide on our preview night is about 45 minutes before the curtain, we have someone come out and talk directly to the audience about a little bit of background about the show, some fun trivia, some historical context that might be interesting for them, and also just having a Q&A session so that we can engage people on a whole other level. So they're not just an audience, but not just an audience member enjoying the show, but they have a real relationship to the show that I think really enhances their enjoyment of it and their feeling of being a full participant in it as well. We do 6 of these a year. These are our sneak view performances. The Backstage Pass, which is the children's program that we do, we are planning on doing 5 of those. I'll have to look at the number specifically, but I believe 5 of them specifically for Clay Township students. And then we're planning on doing the 6 nursing home visits.
Are you reaching out to other areas other than Clay Township to broaden your base in Hamilton County? Or?
We are. We can accommodate as many as 524 people per preview performance, per sneak view performance, and there are 6 of them. We have the goal of having 200 Clay Township residents out of that 524 at each of those. We want to be as good neighbors as we can. So many of the organizations that I'm hearing talk tonight, like Prime Life, is across the street from us. There are a lot of groups. Manor Trace is a nursing home that we've traveled to several times with the kids to sing. There are so many in our neighborhood that we really want to develop strong relationships with.
And these are already selling out?
They already are at 100%. Yeah, we're going to have to get our letters out a little bit sooner and be really judicious. Another thing that we do is if we have so much demand that we try to accommodate, we will fit those groups, the overflow groups, into our regular performances if there are extra seats. So we try not to turn anybody away.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Any other grant applications tonight? Yes, we do.
My name is Paige Strobeck, and I come here from Gleaners Food Bank. This is my first time here, so I am a little nervous, and I did not bring copies of my grant proposal. I didn't know I needed to, so I apologize for that. I emailed the one ahead of time that I think Doug got, and here I stand with no proposals. Gleaners has a number of programs that are specifically targeted to children for hunger relief, and one of them is present and has been very successful this past year at Orchard Park Elementary School. It's called Backsacks Weekend Food for Kids. We came about with this program in 2006 when Indiana teachers were reporting that children were arriving in their classes on Monday morning, weak, showing signs of extreme hunger or malnutrition, couldn't concentrate in class, would fall asleep in class, very thin, and showing physical signs of malnutrition like dried skin and cracked lips. Very thin. I'm sorry, I already said that. So we started this program to identify the most needy children and provide them with their own little supply, a plastic bag full of food that they could take home on the weekend. I think the government's doing a pretty good job of getting food to these kids on school-based, school-provided breakfast and lunch. Many of the kids go home to no dinner, but they can survive till the next school day. They don't survive well over the weekend, and even in Hamilton County, it's a problem. We serve 6 schools in Hamilton County, only one in Clay Township, and that is Orchard Park Elementary School, where 40 children have been identified by school personnel as showing signs of chronic hunger or malnutrition, and through the school year we have been providing these kids with their own sack of food. It's 13 items, sufficient for 6 small meals and a snack. Doesn't have to be refrigerated, and our little taste testers in kindergarten and first grade determine whether anybody will even eat the stuff. We have a registered dietitian who makes sure the nutritional content is great. It's low fat and high fiber, although the children don't know this. They like what they eat. We've gotten great reports back. The whole program is in 18 of the 21 counties that Gleaners serves. And we finished the year with 8,220 children receiving this. It's at no charge to the schools. It's at high charge to Gleaners because none of the food is donated. We go out and source all the food with the power that Gleaners has in the wholesale market, and it cost this past year about $5 per bag per child to provide that for kids. So this past school year, it was about a $1.6 million program at Gleaners, and we just raised the money for all of it because no school pays anything. We want to make sure the neediest kids have enough food over the weekend that when they come back to school on Monday morning, they are ready to learn. Before we had this program, when these kids came back to school, the teachers would report that they would claw through the trash, trying to find scraps or food that other kids had thrown away. And we have made sure that doesn't happen. So our request this year is just for Orchard Park Elementary. We have been very blessed that Rotary Club of Carmel partially funded us for the spring semester, and we are requesting a grant of $5,000 from the Clay Township office to offset what we expect to be a Clay Township cost of about $15,000 as we are intending to bring on Forestdale Elementary School and Carmel Elementary School for a total. We have 40 kids at Orchard Park, and that's going to be, let me get my glasses on, an additional 44 children if they come onto the program. We believe they will. We have contacted both principals at both schools because they've got a pretty significant number of kids on free and reduced lunch. And we have found that about 15% of those kids will qualify for back sacks. It's not a blanket program. It doesn't go to every kid on free and reduced. It goes to a small number on free and reduced. Teachers love it. The principal at Orchard Park is thrilled, wants it back. And we would love you guys to partner with us because we're going to bring it to the school no matter what next year. So thanks for having me, and next time I come, I'll bring more better stuff. Do you have any questions for me?
Only one out of curiosity.
Sure.
What kind of feedback do you get from, I mean, I guess the students, are they
Well, we have a really robust evaluation system that Eli Lilly and Company, Annie Lanco helped put us together with their Six Sigma experts. They have this fabulous job. Part of it's web-based, part of it's one-on-one. And overall, about 70% of all the schools that responded, we have 169 schools in May, and 110 returned responses, which is an incredible rate. And about 70% of them said that absenteeism among those kids had declined, which was one of our goals. About 65% of those schools said that classroom behavior had improved. So all those different things I was telling you that happen that aren't so hot, especially not paying attention. Just under half reported, surprisingly, that academic performance had improved. We didn't want to claim that that could happen.